Just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, it did. It actually did, which is terrible. For those of you who haven't seen, the AFCA, which is like the American Football Coaches Association, came out with a vote today, which I didn't even know they voted on things. I thought they kind of just hung out and shit. I'm not gonna lie, but they voted on a recommendation to expand the college football playoff, which I naturally hate. As an actual passionate college football fan, I hate that. That's stupid. To me, that's terrible. For me, I thought expanding 4 to 8 was a bit much, but I liked it. I liked the idea more than 4. However, 12 was pushing it. Now we're trying to get 16, and not just 16, but it seems like more universities, more commissioners want 24, which is alarming. That's very alarming. Especially like the Big Ten, they're pushing for 24. Seems like the SEC cares more about 16. However, I don't like either of them. I think we should just stay at 12. But anyways, back to the AFCA. These coaches, these representatives essentially said that we're trying to push for an expanded playoff, so likely 24. We're trying to push for no conference championships, which I hate. And they're trying to essentially push for the season ending in the second week of January, which I actually think is not the worst idea in the world. If I had it my way, I would make the Rose Bowl the national championship every year, but I realize I'm nowhere near close to running college football or being a commissioner, so that's okay. But anyways, the other thing is that I also read that I don't love is the aspect that Army Navy might not get their own day. Like, this has been an ongoing talk. If there's 24 teams, is that Army Navy would probably not get their own day. There probably wouldn't be games on while they're playing. But for me, like, a big part of college football and the tradition of college football has been the aspect that those two get their own day. Like, I don't know. It's not that crazy to me anyways. But just in general, where do I even? We don't need 16. We don't need 24. And what I'm going to talk about right now is kind of bigger, or maybe it's the same concept as these 24 teams. But when you look at other leagues, you look at the NBA, you look at college basketball, you look at the NFL, you look at, I don't know, the Premier League, whatever. Just these random leagues, these professional or non-professional leagues that are popular. They all have one thing that I think is an argument to be made on why, if I were a fan or a biggest fan of those sports, why I would say those are the best sports in the world. With soccer, I'd probably say, yeah, I think the World Cup is the best event in the world. If I was a soccer fan, right? Or if I was in the NFL, I'd say, there is nothing greater than an American Super Bowl. There's nothing greater. Or the finals, there's not many things that are greater than a Game 7. This is what's different about college football. None of it has to do with the postseason. I don't like watching college football for the postseason, which is very different from other sports. Even in March Madness, like, I will sometimes just not watch basketball until, February or March, because then that's when I want to know who is actually kind of good. However, with college football, games matter. You play 12 games in a regular season. Those games matter. Each game matters. And I don't want to go to the other extreme because I don't believe in extreme things. Like the fact I don't believe in the BCS. I don't think us playing 2 games, like us going back to that, would solve this. I think that's a terrible idea. But when the BCS championship was around, each game was so important. Like, I remember 2013, Auburn, Alabama for the Iron Bowl was like the most important game ever. And it wasn't a conference championship game. It wasn't a college football playoff game. It was just a regular season game. And yes, I might get that's very old fashioned. Like, you're not willing to change. That's not like what I'm trying to say. I'm willing to change like playoff games or, conference championships if it's reasonable, if it makes sense, right? Like, something I loved a few years ago was when I shouldn't say we, but conferences started going away from like a north or a south, like the first in the division of each playing each other, and they went to, a first and a second in the conference. Like that makes way more sense. It's change that makes sense. In this regard, going to 24 makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense except for the executives who run college football. And guess what? Those people don't care about college football. They're not actual fans. They're stakeholders, right? Or excuse me, they're shareholders, right? They don't care about fans. Anyways, I digress. But what I'm trying to say is overall, like, we don't need this. We don't need this. And what's nice about it is even though it is a recommendation, doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to fall through or follow through. However, I have my suspicions that it probably will. I think I read in this article written by Ross Dellinger, the valuation for new playoff games, if they get rid of these conference championships, is like 400 to 700 million, which is insane, right? There's another argument where it's like, well, like you don't want more football? Well, we wouldn't actually get more football if we add more playoff games, because if we're taking away conference championships, we're just replacing these conference championships with playoff games, which I don't want to do. I think it means something to win your conference, especially in the SEC or the Big Ten. Like, I think it matters if you win the ACC or if you win the Big 12. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't know. Anyways, guys, I digress, but let me know what you guys think. I'm quite pissed off about it. I'm pretty passionate about it, though. I had to crash out. So, yeah, let me know what you think. I could be wrong, but I really don't think I'm wrong because I'm an actual football fan. So, anyways, guys, I love ya. And rush that damn field.